reconvene this meeting. MP Sarah Westcott Williams, you have the floor.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. And Mr. Chairman, I just staying on the topic of this country package thing and what they're doing and how these plans align with government's plans and visions. I just would like to know from the minister. There is also this report that not really a report, but it gives a sort of a synopsis of the early childhood development centers. And it has been determined, according to that particular item in the country package, that there is no seamless transition from early childhood to, of course, kindergarten, elementary, etc., etc. And there is a plan, there is a proposal to deal with that specific matter. Can the minister inform if there's any progress where that is concerned? The focus, again, is on early childhood development and the centers that provide that service to our very young. So if, again, government's perspective on the matter of early childhood development as far as it relates then to getting into the further streaming of education. And then, Mr. Chairman, from the information that the ministry has, and I guess the background information to the minister's presentation, where do we stand in terms of the pool of teachers? Is there any feeling of, at any level, a shortage of teachers? Or are we kind of over that hump, which was a reality some years ago? So where do we stand with that? And then that brings me to being able to ascertain what our teachers training course has done for providing teachers on the island. Is there, could that link be made in any way or fashion? And tying into that same question about teachers, there was a possibility where the teachers' education is concerned that some years ago the possibility was created that the applicable financial study financing criteria would be waived where the teacher's profession is concerned. So the study for teachers, the criteria for study financing was waived in favor of giving more persons the opportunity to study for teacher. Is that still in place? And that ties into my previous question. Would it even be necessary to have it? So, yeah, Mr. Chairman, those two questions I wanted to add to those that I already asked. Thank you.
Thank you, MP Westcott Williams. MP Otley has the floor. You have the floor.
Thank you, Mr. Chair. Through you, Mr. Chair, I have one more question that I forgot. The Honorable Minister of Education brought some amendments during the budget debate. We are hearing all this back and forth of the budget. I just want to ask the Honorable Minister of Education if she's aware. I hope that none of these issues that we are speaking of fall within your ministry. So my question is, are the amendments safe? Because I really hope so, since we're here talking in the Education Committee. Is everything kosher with the amendments that was brought forward by the Ministry of Education? Thank you.
Thank you, MP Otley. MP Arian has the floor.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. At the end of this presentation by the Minister, thank you, Minister, but at the end of your presentation, I turned to MP Duran and I said, what I'm missing from this presentation is the position of government. I even asked him, like, who requested this meeting? Was it the minister? Was it a member of parliament? Because why are we here today? All of us are here to read a report. So for me, it's lacking, what is the position of the minister or the ministry? What do you want to accomplish with this report? It lacks, again, the vision of the government. Regarding the school board subsidy, part of the subsidy given to the school board goes to the audited financials. When we were there, we were trying to finalize this. The school boards complained consistently on the fact that they have to pay a lot of money to third parties, BDO and other entities, other financial entities, to pay to get audited financials to then submit to government. Our proposal then, and the majority of school boards then agreed, that we would then remove a part of the subsidy that goes to audited financials. That money would then go to SORB, and SORB then would do the audits for all school boards. So then we have one entity and have one standard when it comes to doing audited financials. And that would then take the pressure off of school boards to then use their own money and pay higher and different fees to these entities. Is that something that the minister could see herself in or even continue? The way that school boards get subsidy obviously isn't working, and that's another issue that they talked about. And also had meetings with me in my previous position. So I would like to know from the minister, do you agree with the current way that the school boards receive subsidy? And is that something you would like to look into to change? There's a covenant that was presented by the Y2 and the then President Stuart Johnson, and now he's part of the coalition. He's actually the chief of staff of the Prime Minister. Is that something that is going to get signed? Is that something the coalition can see themselves in, or was that just something political back then because they were opposition, and now that the government is together, we're not interested anymore in signing this covenant? In the report, it states that 59% of the teachers had bachelor's and master's degrees. And again, it's just data. This is a report full of data. What do you want from us as members of parliament? What do we do with this report? Is it high? Is 59% high? Is it satisfactory for the government and the minister? Do you want to increase that amount? What do we do with this data? And if it's low, what measures are being taken to increase the qualification levels of the teachers? When I look at NEPA, I like the program that they had in the past where there are a lot of different things you could study. I realize that has dropped significantly, but we continue to speak about the boys in the block and how we want to do more for them. And in the last few years, I've also personally tried to help a few, but really believe if we want to give them opportunity, we have to look at some type of scholarship program, allow them to enter the program for free. I think that it's more important to waive $1,000-something to get them educated, to give them opportunities. I see the minister approved the Minister of Brummy approving 2 new developments, a 10-story building, another big development, and the majority of those persons working are not going to be the students coming from NEPA or even vacation training school because of the level. So, or those who didn't get opportunity to even go NEPA because they couldn't afford it. I also know that the nurses at NEPA also complain that they have to work, go to school and pay. We are going to have a hospital finalized in maybe let's say 3 years. The demand for nurses will increase. How are we aligning the supply and demand from now? How are we supporting the nurses program to be able to feed in to the hospital in the next 3 years? Mr. Chairman, I'm happy that the chair mentioned, or let's say corrected me regarding her position and representing the body of parliament. And I agree. Because when the chair and the secretary general goes to the government building to meet the issues regarding the budget, then you should come back to parliament and report to us. You can't withhold information from parliament, right, regarding budget and not come back to us. And what also shouldn't happen is that the chair and the government try to usurp the rights of parliament based on the Constitution, or even, let's say, do everything possible, almost stretching the lines of integrity and illegal behavior just to cover up a mistake of government. I would rather have seen that the government just come out and say, hey, there's this mistake for the last 2 weeks, be accountable, and come back and tell us. It can't be that everybody knows like, the biggest secret of all time, right? A public secret, and the government and members of this coalition continues to just try to find every way possible to cover up the situation and not address the situation. We're sitting here today talking about the state of education. It will stay there for a long time because they can't execute nothing. There's no new hires happening because of the reusing budget 2024 that the coalition was so proud to say we did it. That was based on our vision of 2023, right? So that means we are 2 years backwards in terms of vision. They can't hire, they can't execute no new projects. So all the mumbo jumbo we had here for Parliament and all for budget debate and all the grandstanding we had here in projects, all of that is done. The requesting of CapEx has been delayed again. So I'm even doubting you'll be even going to get a capital expenditure for this year again. So I would like, again, and again, we know the issues. So I would like to see if the government is going to continue to try to usurp our position as Parliament and continue dangling the lines of, hey, maybe they don't know this, maybe they don't know that, or come out and say the truth. The minister said yesterday we can get a letter. We didn't get a letter yet. We're having a meeting today talking about the state of education, as I mentioned, but what we should be talking about is how we're going to move forward as a country and get our finances and the biggest legislation that we have in order. Thank you, Mr. Chairman.
Thank you, MP Arian.